Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buff, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, we're talking all kinds of basketball. How about that big win for the Colorado men over number 15 Miami? We're going to recap that with my broadcast partner and former Buff Scott Wilkie. The Buffs also roll over Northern Colorado. We'll be joined by Javon Hadley and Big Eddie Lampkin. The CU women in a quiet period, but we're going to hook up with the beat writer from the Boulder Daily Camper, Brian Howell, talk women's basketball and football recruiting. All this week in the Buffalo Stampede. De Silva again to the rim, count it, whistle and a foul, turnover Miami, KJ to the rim, throw it down with the right hand. What a trip to the Big Apple. Colorado comes in here and dominates the number 15 team of the land. What a victory for the Colorado men's basketball team, knocking off number 15 Miami in Brooklyn, New York by 27 points. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buff, Mark Johnson. Colorado moving to 7-2. One of the more impressive victories of recent years. Scott Wilkie joining us here for a couple of minutes. My broadcast partner, former Buffs great. All right, that win, knocking off a top 15 team, a team that had been in the Final Four a year ago by 27, is as impressive as anything I've seen from Buffalo's in a number of years.
Maybe the best half I've seen since I've been doing radio, Mark. 11th year doing radio, I've never seen them have a half like that. Dominant against a top program, number 15 in the country.
When you look at this team, we frequently talk about the cornerstones. Tristan De Silva is one of those guys, preseason All-American by some accounts out there. We've always talked about him being more aggressive, I guess might be the word we're looking for. He went out and nearly had a triple-double, 22 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yeah, he took over the game in the second half. He was playing good defense, passing the ball, making good plays inside, outside. He is what we always wanted him to be last Sunday.
One thing that game did show in terms of his skill set, Scotty, is how complete a player he is.
Yeah, he can handle the ball. He can bring it up against the press. You saw last Sunday, 9 assists and pass it. He can make plays for other people and himself.
You know, earlier this week, Tad Boyle was asked about KJ Simpson in terms of the offense, how good Colorado's been offensively, and talked about how it's a crime that he's not on one of the awards lists for point guards around the country. I think right now he's playing as well as any point guard in America.
He's shooting the ball so well, Mark, so efficient. He's not turning the ball over. Best section of his career by far, his first 9 games.
You know what he's done, though, Scott? He's matured. I mean, we've always talked about him being wired to score. He's adding to it. He's a more mature basketball player, more under control, doesn't make the same kind of mistakes he made as an underclassmen.
Yeah, he's still playing aggressively, still looking for his shot, but picking his spots a little bit more, and he's not turning the ball over.
So the Buffaloes get the 27-point win over number 15 Miami in Brooklyn, New York. Afterward, we heard from assistant coach Rick Ray. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment made to chill. Celebrate responsibly.
I think the first thing that happened was that we got stops. That's the most important thing. But we also were able to defensive rebound. I think we were plus 12 on the glass. And I think our guys were really, really active. We spent all week just talking about guarding the ball because with this team, they get all of their threes off of penetration and kick. And so it's all about the way you guard the ball. So if you can keep them from penetrating, then you can take away the threes with the kick. So I thought our guys did a really good job of buying into the game plan, but more importantly, executing the game plan.
There's assistant coach Rick Ray after the Buffaloes get the big victory at the NABC Brooklyn Showcase as they knock off number 15 Miami by 27 points at the Barclays Center. This offense right now, Scott, Colorado's basketball team is the only team in America in the top 10 in field goal percentage, three-point field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. This offense has exceeded anything I thought they might be this year.
Yeah, what do you want to call it? Efficient or just shooting the ball really well? And the leading 2 scorers we just talked about, Tristan De Silva and KJ Simpson, both 56% from the field. And other guys that are taking the most shots, really in the zone right now.
Yeah, Colorado, by the way, shot over 50% from the field in 7 of their 9 games this season. You know what's getting lost in all of this is the fact they've out-rebounded every single opponent so far this year.
Yeah, including last Sunday. They were dominant against a really good Miami team. And they've been winning by about 10 or 11 rebounds a game. If you do that, you're going to be in every game you play.
All right, Buffaloes have still got UNC and then Utah Tech before they wrap up non-conference play. But on a 9-game basis right now, your evaluation of this basketball team is what?
Well, other than the 2 games they lost, they've been really, really good offensively. Better than I expected, honestly. On the defensive rebounding, it's solid. So if they can just bring the shooting game a little bit more against those road teams. But we saw last Sunday in the second half, they caught fire. Maybe they can keep that rolling.
You know, when you think of the Buffaloes, you think of Tristan, you think of KJ, you think of Cody Williams, who's out, by the way, with his wrist injury. Outside of those 3, who's the guy that's making the biggest impact right now for you?
I think Julian Hammond, that third guard, stepping into the starting role when Cody's out. He's playing efficiently, much like KJ, but not playing as many minutes.
You know, when you look at the Pac-12 right now, it's been a little bit up and down in non-conference play. Right now, outside of maybe Arizona, the number 1 team in the land, Colorado looks to be as good as anybody in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona is in a different class, but we're right there in the mix. I expect us to be in the top 4 come tournament time.
So the Colorado Buffaloes get the win over number 15 Miami, 90-63. After this one, they play Northern Colorado. We'll tell you about that coming up next here in the Stampede.
Attacking Fulker left out top. KJ all over, picks his pocket, takes it away from, drives up court, on his way to the hoop, goes up, off the window, layup is up and good by KJ Simpson. KJ with another steal on top, takes it away, on his way to the hoop, with the slam with the right hand, the tomahawk. Well, the Buffaloes pick up their 8th victory of the campaign, a 22-point win over Northern Colorado. Back on the Buffalo Stampede, voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. This guy had a great game. Javon Hadley joining us. Nice win. You guys come off the big win over Miami, of course.
Yes, sir.
Tad has talked about not having a letdown, not getting drunk on your own wine. You guys came out and took care of business.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's something that we reiterated all week in the locker room. You know, coming off a win, especially against Miami, you know, we have to take that step forward, not that step back.
6 Buffaloes had double-digit scoring in this one, including Javon. You and Eddie Lampka, the 2 bigs, end up with the leading assist man of the team. Each had 6. That's pretty impressive for you fellas, sharing the basketball that way.
Oh yeah, I mean we're out there talking to each other on the floor, you know, having fun with it. So especially, you know, when we find our teammates, that's something that we pride ourselves on. So you know, it was fun out there.
Hey, speaking of talking, I was joking with Tad Boyle on a radio postgame. I said, I'm going to mic up Eddie Lampkin. He's talking nonstop on the court. What's he talking about out there all the time?
Hey,
talking to you, talking to the opponent?
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes a little bit of both.
What's he like when you play around him? Because he seems like such an infectious personality.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of a kind. I mean, not too many big men in the country. You have the same personality and same energy that he brings every day, even in practice. So you know, he's one of a kind.
Javon, Tad Boyle, when talking about this team many times, has said that the guy that holds it all together is Javon Hadley. What does that mean when you hear your head coach say that kind of thing about you?
You know, it's just special. You know, just the appreciation. You know, not from only the coaches but the teammates as well. You know, it feels like home, and I'm appreciated, and you know that makes me want to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'm grateful for that.
In year number 2, is there a more comfortable feeling for you, being that you've been here a year already now?
Yeah, for sure, especially like on the defensive end, just being able to talk to my teammates and not boss them around, but sort of be that leader out there, especially on defense, and because I'm comfortable with them and they're comfortable with me, so it helps.
Yeah, impressive win for the Colorado Buffaloes. You get a 22-point win over the Bears in Northern Colorado, and afterward we heard from head coach Tad Boyle. Powered by Ford, cars, trucks, and SUVs built for America, built Ford proud.
Midway through the first half, our guys were a little frustrated because they think it's going to be easy, every time you step out, and you got to grind it out a little bit because teams come in here with a game plan. They play hard just like we play hard, and at the end of the first half, we strung together some stops and broke that thing open. But our guys were frustrated, first and second media timeout. I just said we just got to stick with it and string stops together, and then. Offensively, we're playing really well together, getting another 23 assists tonight, and 6 guys in double figures. So a lot of good things offensively. And defensively, we keep getting better, did a good job. And again, Thomas had 27, but he had it on 22 shots. So I thought Javon Hadley did a really good job defensively on him, and I was really pleased. Other than the way we finished the game. Last 3.5 minutes, we got beat 12-6, which I don't like. I told our players, in today's game, with all the analytics and Ken Palm and all that stuff, there is no garbage time. I don't want them to feel like, I'm coming in, we're up, whatever, we're up, and we got to continue to play the whole 40 minutes.
There's head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes get the 22-point win over the Bears. We continue with Javon Hadley. What did you work on from your first year here last year to this year to improve upon? I mean, you seem like your overall game is more complete right now. What did you work on during the offseason?
Just mainly my jumper. You know, I haven't shown it that much lately, but, you know, when the right time comes, you know, I'm going to be able to, you know, knock some big shots down when it comes, you know, especially bigger games like, you know, USC or, you know, UCLA, those bigger games, you know, they might leave me open, they might not, but if they leave me open, you know, I've been working on just making them pay the price. Before we heard from Tan, we were talking about the assist numbers. You and Eddie each had 6 in this ball game. I've talked with KJ about this as well. It's got to be a fun team to play on, right? Yeah. I mean, there are so many weapons on this team. You guys statistically are one of the top offensive teams in the country. You come out there, if I don't have it right now, just kick it to somebody because I know they're going to score, right? Oh yeah, I mean that makes the teams great. Just being able to have multiple weapons on the floor, and you know, just being able to trust each other. You know, if there's no trust out there, then you might not pass it to him, or you might not you know, make that extra play, extra one more. So you know, it's really just trust. Is this speaking of trust? Is this a close-knit basketball team? Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, even closer than last year. You know. Maybe it's the winning thing, I don't know, but you know, we're a lot more comfortable, you know, out there on the floor and in the locker room, so that's always good. Who's the most vocal guy from a leadership standpoint in this team? I'll probably say myself. Is that right? Yeah, I'll say myself because, you know, that's something that I pride myself on. Okay. You know, even in junior college, I was always the, you know, the talker and the leader, and you know, I really wasn't to start junior college, but you know, my coach made me do that because, you know, that's what great teammates do. When you're a guy though that is vocal from a leadership standpoint, that puts pressure on yourself because you need to live up to those expectations, don't you? Yeah, every game, every practice. I mean, you know, they always look to me. Coach always tells me like, Javon, get them going. You know, look at the teammates always looking at me, so you know, it puts a little bit of pressure on, but you know, I'm grateful for that pressure. Now the Buffaloes have one more non-conference game next Thursday. They're going to take on the Trailblazers of Utah Tech. Javon Hadley, a heck of a ball game as the Buffs knock off the Bears by 22. Coming up next, speaking of Eddie Lampkin, we're going to talk with the big fella after break here in the Buffalo Stampede.
Quick pass into paint. Caught by Joe. Turns and slams with 2 hands. Throw it down, big man. Throw it down. Weasting on the left block for the Bears. Threw it away. KJ to steal. Look out. Here he goes to the rim with the tomahawk with the right hand. No regard for human life on that one. He flushed it. Skip pass inside. Eddie. Reverse slam with the right hand. Oh, throw it down, big man.
Now the Buffs get that nice 22-point win over Northern Colorado. Back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Big fella. Eddie Lampkin joining us. All right. Nice win.
Yes, sir.
You guys come off that big victory over Miami. You don't want to have a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came and took care of business, didn't you?
Yeah, we had to. I feel like we stepped up a lot. We should have ended it. We were supposed to win by way more, but we got the dub. That's all that really matters.
How's the transition been for you? Houston native, came from TCU. How's this you look like you're just loving life here in Boulder.
Yeah, I do. I really love it. They believe in me. They playing through me way more. I think I had like 5 or 6 assists, and that's one of my things. Coach telling me stop passing it as much as I am, but like that's what I like. And he telling me if I got one-on-one, go every time. So I feel like I'm getting back to myself after I had the surgery or whatever. I'm feeling way better. I say I'm like more like 95%. I'm almost 100. I've been during practice. I've been practicing the whole time, so I feel like I'm feeling good.
Yeah, you had 6 assists. Javon Hadley had 6 assists. You guys are the top 2 assist men.
Yes, sir.
When the bigs are passing like that really makes the offense go, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's my main thing. I'm telling Vaughn, me and him before the game, I'm like, me and you, bro. Yeah. Just because if me and him passing it inside out, they ain't going to be able to stop us because we got amazing shooters.
I've joked a couple of times. You're talking on the court all the time. I told Tad I want to mic you up during a game.
Yes, sir. Right? I love that.
Because he said you're very, very G-rated. It's nothing but. What are you talking about all the time? Who are you talking to?
Myself, the other player, the fans. I don't even know. I just be talking.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is a good group you're with in this team, isn't it? I would imagine when you transfer in, you want to make sure for your 1 year you come in with a good group of guys.
Yes, sir.
You like the chemistry in this group?
Yes, sir. I love it. Actually, I wish I would have had like another month before, but I feel like we all in it already together, and I feel like we're doing good. And I came here in May, and we already look like a good team, and it's hard to come into a team and being a big man. And trying to like run a team because the big man being in the inside, you got to run the team most of the time. Yeah, big man's had a big impact on the Buffaloes. After the Buffs get that 22-point win over the Bears, we heard from some of the players in the post-game press conference.
I think our mentality was just, you know, not being complacent, not getting too comfortable. Obviously, you know, Miami was a really, really great win for us. Really beat a really good team, and obviously the opportunity there. But, you know, after being a team like that, you know, the next game could kind of be a trap game. Doesn't matter who we play next. I mean, just coming off that win, and that's not what we really wanted to, focus on. We wanted to play the same way and keep the same mindset that we had going into the Miami game to this game.
Well, I know I'm always I'm a good shooter. I know that. I mean, obviously the numbers don't show it, but I know I'm a good shooter. But honestly, I didn't think I had a good game today. I pride myself on defense. I didn't think I played great defensively. That's the beauty of my game is, you look at my stats and you probably don't think, I'm not playing well or nothing. But I think if I'm playing good defense, rebounding, then that's the key. But yeah, the shooting will come. I'm not worried about that. So.
There's some post-game comments for the Buffalo's 22-point win over Northern Colorado. We continue with Eddie Lampkin. This team has got so many weapons on it. And I've talked with KJ about coming down the court. You know that if you're not open, someone's going to be there and hit a shot. That's going to make it fun to play a game like this,
Yeah,
right?
yes, sir. I say, yeah, when it's KJ, I'm like, I'll be boxing out so hard, and I'm telling him, like, you got to open layup because my man can't get around, and if you don't hit him, you don't get to the rim, the other man in, because they at least got to double me. If they not double me, they got to double Tristan, so somebody's always open.
What did you guys learn about this team with that win against Miami and Brooklyn last week?
We learned that we could be the best team in the country. That was a Final Four team, and we playing like that every week. Who gonna stop us?
Yeah. What's been maybe the largest adjustment for you playing for Tad Boyle and his style and his system? What's been the one thing that's
I just say playing that trigger spot.
Okay.
Not just playing straight ball screens, straight. I'm being more on the perimeter, playing inside out. So I say that's a big difference for me, and I like it way better.
Everyone that comes into this program, they talk glowingly about Steve Englehart, the strength and conditioning coach. All right, he's about this tall.
Yeah.
Right? And
midget. That's a midget.
It can be tough on him. What's that relationship like? Because I know he worked a lot with you when you first got here.
I say me and him still work. Like, we was getting some work in yesterday, 2 days ago in the pool. Like, he stays on me. I've been making my 22s, and that's just been the big thing. He just telling me every day to push myself to be the better player. And I just say, like, with him, that God sent me him for a reason, and I'm blessed to have him as my strength coach. Because, like, a lot of strength coaches, like, they don't really just care about body-wise. They just want you to play. But, like, he really cares about your future and what you're going to be doing in 5 years, 10 years. So, like, I feel like I'm blessed to have him as my strength coach.
That's got to be an interesting thing, too. As much as you talk, Steve talks just as much as you do. That's got to be an interesting conversation with you.
Yeah, me and him going at it every day.
Well, Eddie Lampkin's been outstanding for the Colorado Buffaloes since he's come in as a transfer from TCU. He and the Buffs get a 22-point win over the Bears of Northern Colorado. Coming up next year in the Stampede, we're talking women's hoops. They're in a quiet period right now, but Brian Howell from the Boulder Daily Camera is going to join us next.
Arlington across their chest. Jumper up from 17, and Sherrod will knock it down. Here on the near side, Kendall skips to Whittingham, or that is Whitaker, who knocks down Clark on the rebound. Quick down. Sherrod's not going to shoot the three. Got it to Foreman, who will. Good night.
Well, the Colorado women are in the middle of a 16-day break in their schedule. 8th-rated team in the country, 9-1. That's the last time they were on the court against UT Arlington. And, of course, the Buffs got the victory. Back here at the Buffalo Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. We come to you from the media room here at the event center. This is where the radio and television and newspaper guys are all doing their thing before and after games. Brian Howell, our buddy from the Boulder Daily Camera, joining us. He sweats like crazy in here, working, slaving over his pieces after every ball game.
Absolutely.
Hey, 9-1. This team's got to be a lot of fun to cover right now.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I mean, they were a lot of fun last year in that Sweet 16 run, and then this year I think they're even better. And obviously they haven't been top 10 in a very long time, and so the ranking is much better. But this team is offensively they're much better, and defensively maybe not quite where they were last year, but the veteran presence is showing up night in and night out.
I think we all thought this was going to be a very good team for JR, but that season opening victory over number 1 LSU kind of took everybody by surprise a little bit because of how lopsided the ball game was. Is this team a Final Four caliber team right now in your mind?
I think so. I mean, I can't remember who the commentator was. Candace Parker, maybe. At the end of that game, she's like, this team ought to think about Final Four. That ought to be a goal for this team. And I think so. I mean, they're number 8 in the country. And, as you know, when you get to the tournament, it's all about matchups. And so it depends on what the matchup is there. But if they put themselves in a position to where they're hosting that first weekend and you can get through that, you're in the Sweet 16, then, if you get a good matchup, this is a Final Four caliber team because of the way they play defense and because of the weapons they have and the veteran leadership they have here.
Our buddy Gary Barnett always says in football, you have to play 4 or 5 games before you know what you are. Okay, the Buffs are 10 games in at this point in time. What's the strength of this team?
I think the veteran leadership, because I would have said defense, but they're not playing defense like they did last year. I know JR wants to improve that. Offensively, they've been much better than they did in the past. But I think the overall thing is that they've got so many veterans that they stay poised. And we've seen games like they're playing Boston, who they should have beat by 30, and then they did.
Yep.
But they're down by 3 late in the third quarter, and all of a sudden outscoring 38-5 the rest of the way. And that's veteran leadership. And so you see it show up against LSU, against Boston in those situations, and that's what's getting them through a lot of these games.
Last week we had Frida Foreman on the show. She's become a 1,000-point scorer for the Buffaloes, one of the great shooters in the country. I got to admit, I was doing a show and somebody asked me about them the other day, and I said, when she got here, she'll be a nice player. I didn't expect what she's become. She's really become a force for this team.
Yeah, and JR knew, like she told me when she first got here, before she got here, so that she's a really good all-around player. But the first few years, she was that three-point shooter that did a few things that were nice. And this year, it's like, oh, she's a really good all-around player. And it's taken her a few years, and you could see that development. She's always been good, but she's now, I think, a great player. Like she's a first-team all-conference player.
And it's also nice when you got a great point guard. We've got one on the men's side with KJ Simpson. Of course, Jalen Sherrod has been outstanding.
Yeah, she has been, and she hasn't. I actually just chatted with her earlier today, but as we're doing this, but like. She was kind of joking. She goes, "I don't have to work that hard." She goes, "All these teammates I have just make it easy." To where I think she said, "I never just have to work smarter, not harder, and I just have to deliver a good pass." But yeah, she's so good at running this offense now and delivering the passes.
Next up for the women, they play on a Thursday, the 21st. They'll take on UNC. That's a day-night doubleheader with the men. Women play at noon. Men play later on against Utah Tech later on that evening. Hey, football, real quick.
Yeah.
Here a couple of weeks ago, you thought the sky was falling. If you kind of looked at social media out there. And here we stand here on this day, and Deion Sanders is finding offensive linemen. He's getting receivers, hiring new coaches. All of a sudden, it's turned pretty optimistic for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, I kind of referenced on Twitter this article in The Athletic where there was an anonymous coach quoted saying, "There's no way in blank you're going to find a new offensive line for Shedeur." Well, he found it. There's 6 offensive linemen, I believe that number is, starting offensive linemen from the FBS ranks that have committed here. Plus, you got one of the top JUCO tackles in the country that's committed here. Plus, you got some guys coming back that were starters last year that can help you, Savion Washington, guys like that. So all of a sudden, you do have a new offensive line, and you go and get a Will Shepard from Vanderbilt, who has been their leading receiver the last 2 years. Kind of reminds you of like a Xavier Weaver. There was the leading receiver on a bad USF team. He was the leading receiver on a bad Vanderbilt team, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, he could be a star too.
And Phil Lolholt coming in as the new offensive line coach, impressive hire.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't have that coaching resume yet because he just stopped playing a few years ago, but he played in the NFL just a few years ago, and was a starting offensive tackle for the Minnesota Vikings for like 7-8 years. And so that's got to register with those players.
The thing about it is I'm not surprised anymore what Deion does because it's so unusual for all of us. But it's been impressive.
It has, and when he says he's going to do it, you got to give him credit because he goes and does it.
Yeah, we coming. That's the word. That's Brian Howell. He's from the Boulder Daily Camera. Check out his coverage to see women's basketball all winter long and football, for that matter, with the recruiting season upon us. I'm voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. That wraps up the Buffalo Stampede this week. We'll talk to you next time.